Hey traders, Raghee here. In this free recap video, I'm going to focus on some currencies because from time to time I do get a question, do we cover currencies? Do we cover Forex over here in Simpler Futures? And we absolutely do. In fact, what I like to do is really say that if you understand what's going on with commodities and currencies, you pretty much understand what's going on around the globe. You can better understand central bank maneuvers. You can better understand what's going on with the macro picture as well as equities. And one of our favorite currencies to track what goes on in equities is the yen. And so this is a neat conversation about relative performance, which is something that I think all Forex traders do at a level that's really, I think, super high level, because you have to do a relative performance analysis before you decide which pair to trade and which direction to trade that pair in. So let me talk about a concrete example from today. So again, if you're into currency trading or Forex, we cover this every day, and I love trading currencies. It's really very much a part of how I've built my macro outlook, as well as I think the way in which we have a process for understanding relative performance in any asset class, right? In ETFs, index futures, etc. All right, so notice the yen was the weakest currency, and as the day progressed, we started to see some weakness in equities. So we would expect the yen to possibly strengthen a little bit, or at least not be as weak. And one of the questions I had was, hey Raghee, there was a rollover, what we call a wave reversal, that triggered in the euro yen. And it had indeed actually started to trigger, but it didn't really follow through in a way that we liked. And I said, well, while the euro yen would be an interesting trade, before you combine the euro and the yen, how about buying yen if you think it's going to rebound because equities are weakening, right? How about buying yen against other weaker currency? So let me show you what that looks like on a chart, and this should gel really nicely. And again, this is for any kind of relative performance. Now, for those of you that are wondering, okay, Rag, I don't trade Forex, I don't trade currencies, does this help me? Absolutely, because one of the things that we're looking at right now is possibly a resurgence in crude oil, and we're doing the same kind of analysis, but more like relative performance against a larger sector like XLE or OIH or XOP, the ETF, and the individual stocks within them. I want the relative performance leaders within those sectors. So it's not just currency to currency, it's stock to sector or stock to ETF as well. So once you understand this process, finding those relative performance leaders using the graph candles becomes very simple. All right, so let's talk about euro yen here as it was rolling over. So the idea was to play a 5-minute chart, just a quick little day trade, as there was a shift to a little bit more yen strength. And you can see what happened here. There is your wave reversal right in here. And then this red candle, this red graph candle, is what we call the switch candle. We've switched literally from green to blue to red. That switch that takes you from the previous uptrend of green to the red, that's the switch. Strength to weakness. And that ends up actually being a short, which followed through a little bit, but not that much. It certainly didn't hurt anyone who shorted that, but it didn't follow through great. Where would the follow through be really solid? And that's where we go back to the relative performance and say, wait a minute, why would I buy something against something very, very strong? Not a lot of contrast there between strength and weakness. Why not buy something against something that's weaker, so it has a better chance to gain against a weaker currency? All right, so let's take a look at Australian dollar Japanese yen and New Zealand dollar Japanese yen. Same setup, same time frame. Look at the follow through. Look how much better the strength in the yen did against the weakness in the Australian dollar. I mean, look, this is a 5-minute chart. I'm not looking for a massive move, but if there's a slight shift, do you see how much better it followed through? How about the next currency that was weaker? That was the New Zealand dollar. Even better, right? Even better. So as the yen strengthened, to buy yen, which was really weak, against something that was equally weak, do you see how the yen was able to gain much better than a strong euro today And yes, the trade triggered and it followed through a little bit, but not to the same extent these did. Think about relative performance. I'll be talking a whole lot more about it. It applies to currencies. It applies to sectors, ETFs and sectors. It applies to the ETF itself with the individual stocks. It applies to the futures contract and the individual stocks within it. So once you understand relative performance, you've got a grip on the market really unlike anything else, and it's a really fantastic way to build a watch list. Pick the relative performance leaders to the upside to buy, pick the relative performance leaders, if you will, to the downside to short, and have a really good strength watch list and weakness watch list that you can pick from, really cherry pick from, for the best follow through. I'll see you in the next update.